Hello, my name is Caleb DeVries, and I'm going to present my project on the effects of climate change on coral reef biodiversity. So, what's going on? According to the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Association, climate change equals ocean change. Basically, that means climate change directly affects the oceans. Changes to the oceans lead to effects like sea levels rising, warming water temperatures, and acidification, which has made coral reefs one of the most threatened ecosystems. The rise in surface temperatures has caused mass coral bleaching events globally. Most coral can't even survive 10 days of being bleached due to excessive stress from disease and acidification, which we can expand on more later in this presentation. But coral is a keystone species. Once the coral dies, most of the life within the reefs will move away due to the loss of habitat, lack of food, and harsh conditions. And one of this presentation's favorite rules is the 25% rule, saying that about 25% of all ocean life depend on healthy coral reefs. So, what causes climate change? Increases in carbon dioxide is one of the major contributing factors towards climate change. Carbon gets into the atmosphere through the burning of fossil fuels. Once it's up there, heat from the sun radiates off the earth and gets trapped by the carbon and other greenhouse gas layers. Deforestation is another cause of climate change. Deforestation removes miles of trees in certain areas that would otherwise help remove carbon from the atmosphere through photosynthesis. Deforestation also causes erosion and sedimentation, which affects coral in its own way. Raising livestock, such as cows, also create climate change issues. The large amounts of methane deposits that travel up into the upper atmosphere cause another greenhouse effect. Next, climate change's effect on coral reefs. According to NOAA, the ocean takes in 1/3 of the atmosphere's carbon dioxide, resulting in a more acidic ocean. Ocean acidification slows the growth rate of the coral skeleton, making the calcium carbonate erode faster than it can grow. Warmer oceans also leads to coral bleaching. Bleaching is caused by the zooxanthella reacting to too much light and overproducing reactive oxygen species, which stresses the coral. As a result, the coral will reject the zooxanthella. This causes the coral to be at a higher risk of disease. The sea levels rising also causes sedimentation. This goes back to the deforestation where soil ends up eroding away, and a lot of that also gets into the ocean and causes the coral to get smothered. Without coral, the entire ecosystem fails. So what has restoration looked like over the past 100 years? Originally, people didn't know what they were doing was affecting the environment. But it took them a while. Restoration initially started in the 1970s to the 80s. Around this time, new legislation supporting pro-climate initiatives were passed around the world. This, along with the new ease of scuba diving, promoted reef restoration in forms of coral transplant, reef balls, and artificial constructions such as shipwrecks. The next wave of restoration occurred between 2000 and 2010. This was initially started by overfishing and excessive tourism that led conservationists and scientists to apply new restoration methods such as adding and removing algae, crown of thorns, and lionfish. The third wave started in 2016 and continues even today. This era of restoration has more of a focus on the normal person. Most marketing is directed to reducing human impact on the ecosystems. As seen by the image on the right, you can see over the years kind of different methods of what they've tried adding and removing over time and what they're trying to work on today. So what are the most affected ecosystems? Primarily, coral reefs are affected. They're the initial ones being affected here. When climate change kills the coral, there's nothing left to build the coral reefs. Without the reefs, 25% of all ocean life will be directly affected. And then also coastlines are affected. Coral reefs protect coastlines from strong storms by dampening rough waves. They also economically provide for coastal cities through tourism and fishing. So now the positives and negatives. A positive could be the harsh conditions caused by climate change can promote wet coral that it can survive to adapt and evolve. And new traits could possibly even be observed as means of adapting to these new conditions and can lead to speciation. Another positive is that this acts as an early warning system for scientists. Now that we know climate change does exist, we can work backwards before another ecosystem starts to fail, one that's even harder to bring back to track. Negatives, on the other hand, according to the IUCN, over 6,000 species of coral could go to extinct due to these climate change issues. 25% of all sea life depend on these ecosystems to survive. The coral reefs provide habitat, feeding, spawning, and nursery grounds for over 1 million aquatic species. And it's estimated that 1 billion people rely on the reefs for food or economics every day. So what's the importance to animal biodiversity? Why are we even doing any of this? Coral reefs support various amounts of aquatic life all over the world. Tons and tons of different species are affected, even if they don't visit the coral reef themselves. But worldwide, there are at least 6,000 species of coral. And we know if those go extinct, then there's no coral reefs, which, again, another bad thing. But reefs also provide tons of services for the ecosystem, as we've heard. They provide habitat, feeding, spawning, and nursery grounds to millions of species, billions of species of fish worldwide. And according to NASA, coral reefs, though it only covers 1% of the ocean, is the most diverse ecosystem on Earth, even more diverse than the rainforests, which is crazy to think of. So yeah, coral reefs are a major part of the Earth, major part of the oceans that affect species worldwide, and even us humans that depend on those coastal areas for tourism, food, economics, any of that kind of stuff. So yeah, animal biodiversity is going to be massively affected if coral reefs disappear due to climate change. Thank you.